Barmat, which is in Palampur. Before that, he was in IGFR regional station, Srinagar. He was heading the station for 3 years. And Dr. Shira Saab has completed his PhD from Dr. Y.S. Parmar Solon University. And after that, he qualified ARS examination. Dr. Saab is having more than 30 publications and I think 13 years of experience, more than that, he's having in this field. I welcome Dr. Saab, Dr. Shira Salim Saab, to present his presentation. Dr. Saab, we have participants from all over India, and most of them are scientists rank and above scientist rank. They are from different universities of India. Some PhD students are as well in our group. So you can start, Shira Saab.
Thank you, Dr. Shaib Kirmani, and good morning, Assalamu alaikum to everyone. Thank you for this introduction.
So your presentation is not visible.
Yeah. Wait. I am just sharing my presentation. Now the first slide is visible.
Yes.
Okay. So I hope. How many days has passed for this training program?
Almost 10 days.
Okay. So 10 more days are left, huh?
Yes.
So was there any lecture regarding fodder?
Till now, there was no lecture regarding this.
Okay.
Dr. Suhail Saab will deliver the lecture, but he hasn't delivered yet.
Okay.
So
thank you for this information. And dear friends, so in this lecture, we will be talking about forage crop genetic resources for sustainable livestock farming systems. As you know, if we talk of livestock is one important industry of the country, whether it is for the primary livestock holders, other middlemen, businessmen, and other stakeholders, and almost everyone of us uses livestock products in one way or the other, whether we consume it, whether we use it, or whatsoever. At least everyone is having milk. So the productivity of livestock, it's a complex. So it depends on 4 factors. If we talk of one is the
Dr. Saab, have you moved your slides?
No.
We are in the first. Okay.
No, I have not yet moved it.
Okay.
So I think it is moving.
It is moving.
Okay. So if we talk of livestock, it is productivity is based on 4 factors. One is the type of breed what we have. Second is fodder, what we give to the animal. Third one is the disease management. And fourth one is the management of the animal, hygiene and whatever. So these are 4 factors which depend on which the livestock productivity depends. And this fodder is one of the major component among these 4 factors, because if we provide a quality fodder to our livestock, then there are very less chances that it will get sick, because it will be having good immunity development, it will have a good system development, and obviously it will be helpful in increasing the productivity of that animal. So if we talk of fodder, so in this session we will be talking exclusively on fodder. For these forage genetic resources, these include all the crops that provide fodder to the livestock, and they are very important for this sector. And if we talk of this fodder species throughout the different agroclimatic conditions in the country, the species varies, the genre varies, and different crops are suitable for different areas. If we talk about temperate areas, it is different, subtemperate it is different, and it tropical and subtropical it is different. So in this session we will be talking more specifically on the Himalayan forage crops only. If you have a look regarding these forage crops, these are most these underutilized crops. And during the session also, you will see most of the, if I talk of temperate and subtemperate crops, you will be seeing that most of the people, they would not have uh, uh, heard about the different names of these forage crops. So besides that, providing fodder, these are important for to act as gene pool for improvement of some these related major crops like wheat, barley, and all. And these augment major crop genetic resources. They have ecological significance, social and cultural aspects, and monetary terms. They also have value. So if we take a look at the livestock census of our country, as per 20th census, we have 535.78 million livestock population, of which 192.49 million are the cattle. And besides that, we have 74.26 million sheep population, 148 million goats, 109.85 million buffaloes. And if we have a look, if we compare it with the previous census, there is an increase of 4.6% of the livestock population. This is for the whole and all the animals, but the trend is different for different animals, and there are several factors for that, and trend is different for different states also. So if we see the fodder status of our country, we have requirement of 883.95 million tons green fodder, but of that we are producing only 664.73 million tons green fodder, and there is a deficit of 218 million tons green fodder. And same is the case with dry fodder. 583.66 million tons of dry fodder are required, but we have a deficit of 227.73 million tons of dry fodder. And if we take a look, have a look on the area what we have allocated to this fodder production, it is less than 5% of the grass crop area. And irony is that the most of the feed requirement what we provide to our animals is from crop residues. That counts around 55%. And we provide what we have weeds from our farmers, and that is also fed to our animal, irrespective of what quality it has, what are the contents, and how much it will be helpful in increasing the productivity of the animal. So we don't have a farmer, he takes it that he is feeding something to the animal, and the animal is providing him the milk, meat, and whatever. But whether the question is whether he is harnessing the potential of that breed by providing the quality fodder, whether he knows. First, he should know what is the potential of expression for a specific trait, whether it is milk yield or meat production, how much he is harnessing that. So taking in view of that, he may be going for concentrate feeding, fortification of fodders, mineral mixture, silage, providing silage in the lean period. And if we talk about the rearing farming system of livestock, we have three systems. One is sedentary, that stays at a specific location, that is zero grazing, and semi-sedentary and migratory livestock. And as I told you, that productivity of our livestock in our country is very low as compared to developed countries. And same is the situation of livestock in the Himalayan region. We have only this fodder cultivation restricted to only 1% of in entire Himalayan region, and it is 4% in Jammu and Kashmir. And we have acute shortage of fodder, especially during the lean period. And our Jammu and Kashmir is having deficit of 67% green fodder and 27% dry fodder. In Himachal, situation is like that only. We have 54% and 34% deficit of and this annual requirement of green and dry fodder respectively. And the problem is on the one side we have restricted capacity to increase the area under forage crops. On the other hand, our grasslands are degrading, our pasture lands are degrading. We are converting these into other developmental projects and other factors. They are these factors, they are the other, this is the other phase. So it has become a challenge how we can manage this much of livestock. And as a scientist in this field, I have observed many of the dairy farmers, they had to close up their dairy farms in Jammu and Kashmir because of lack of fodder. This was the main reason. So the government, whenever gives any scheme to any farmer for establishment of any dairy farm in Jammu and Kashmir, they will first question from the veterinarian. They will ask whether he has sufficient land to provide to grow fodder for the livestock, because 70% of the this this has become 70% factor for closing of different dairy farms in Kashmir Valley. So, there we have one option. First, it was sustainable fodder production to meet our requirements without compromising the future. It is generally used, but we have to be progressive sustainable now, so that we have surplus fodder stock to meet different challenges during the deficit period. So if we talk of major fodder crops, these everyone must be knowing that we have oats, we have maize, we have barsim, and we have this cowpea. And now I will not be focusing on these major crops. See, on the screen you will be seeing the names of different temperate and subtemperate forage crop genetic resources. More than around 15, 16 species are enlisted. Honestly, you look at these species and tell me whether you know, whether you are knowing the names of five or more species. Whosoever, how many of you know names of 5 species of these forage crops before? Is there anyone? I think for those who are working in fodder, they must be knowing. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, Dr. Saab, you are audible.
Yeah, just I was asking the participants whether they know the names of these forage crops.
I think they don't know these names.
See, these forage crops, they have very, very high potential in meeting the fodder deficit. And unfortunately, they are underutilized. And most of the research institutions, they are not working on this. And our institute, Indian Grassland and Fodder Research Institute, is I think the sole institute working on such crops and grasslands in the country. And I think this is the only institute in Asia also working exclusively on fodder and grasslands. And in this lecture, I will be focusing on these underutilized species for this temperate and subtemperate region of the country, as well as the alpine ones, alpine region also. Some of them are suitable for that also. Red clover, as you see the photograph, this is the red clover. So now most of the some of them must have seen this for legume, powder legume, and it can grow up to 50, 60, 70, 80 centimeter, depends on the genotype. And it has good deep root system, tap root system, with secondary large number of adventitious roots. Two to three cuts it can give us, and its crude protein content ranges up to 23-24%. And this is very much suitable for orchard floor management, as it smooths the weeds, improves soil quality, and we have observed that it has beneficial effect on the fruit trees during our experimentation and horticulture system at Srinagar. This is the most suitable this crop for that system. Then another is white clover, which is very less. It is a bit lesser than red clover in valley, but it is very much prominent crop in Himalayan region, especially the Himachal Pradesh and around. And it is called, its crude protein also varies up to 22-25-3%. But both these red clover and white clover, they have a problem that once they are fed to the animals develop bloating if they are fed solely on these white clover or red clover. So in this context, I want to tell you the participants that under such situations, there is a need for feed management. How much we have to incorporate these such legumes in our order. Usually we recommend 30% to inclusion of red clover and white clover and 70% of other grasses, so that there is no bloating problem in the animals. This is the remedial measure and in respect of feed management. Then there is one another for a legume, that is sandfine. Most of you people must not have seen this crop. It grows up to, it is available at our station Srinagar, and it grows up to 140 centimeters. I have seen this crop growing high, and it does not cause any bloating to the animal, and it is crude protein content varies up to 20 to 23% up, and its productivity is better than red clover, and it is also multi-cut. It has deep taproot system. It will grow in hardy soils also. It has anti-helminthic properties. It has a good uh, inflorescence, and it's very much suitable for honey production. It is good palatability, but unfortunately, there are many factors for that also. But it is not much at the farmer's field and for the livestock. Then it is Trifolium receptatum is Persian clover. That is also one clover that is grown in Himalayan region, that locally known as Shaftala. Some other vernacular names are there for different states. And SS48 and 469 are two varieties of this crop. It is also having crude protein content more than 20%, and it is but it also causes bloating to the animals. Then another is crown wedge, Coronaviria. It also it is very good for this animals, and it has a soil protection properties also. So it's good for erosion control. It's separating nature. Alfalfa. This is one major legume in this alpine region also. This it has potential to grow up to 110 120 centimeters height, and is very much suitable. In more than that, I have seen in Ladakh, and it is more this CP content goes up to 22-23%, and this crop is I can say somewhere it is called the lifeline of this alpine region. But during our experimentation at Ladakh, we have observed that sandfine also grows very well in such conditions. And in this, we have held different FLDs also in Ladakh and through different KVKs and this Sukast, earlier Sukast, now the Leh University, Hamari. And they have observed that this sandfine is growing very well. Even Kazri has also experimented that there. And this sandfine is another special crop for this alpine region of Ladakh, cold desert of Ladakh. Then we have grasses. Most of you must have seen this one, ryegrass, which is very much famous. It grows throughout this northern part. It is available in Himachal, Jammu and Kashmir, Punjab, and these states, they are having cultivation of ryegrass, and it's having crude protein content of around 15-16%. This crude protein content actually depends on the stage of the grass when it is cut. So whenever I am talking about crude protein content, we take it at the stage when it is good for harvesting the crop. That good. What is the stage for harvesting this grass or legume? It is the 50% flowering stage. At this stage, then fodder quality of the plant is optimum. The biomass productivity of the plant is optimum. Else, if you cut a grass or legume at the very boot stage, it is just before the flowering, is CP content and others, CP content especially, it will be very high. So sometimes that also causes bloating to the animals, and then we say we have fed our animals this early grass, honey grass at early stage, and it is creating problem. So there is we must harvest our grass or legume at the optimum stage when it is good for the livestock health. That is the 50% flowering stage. Then this is another crop, festuca, tall festuca arundinacea. This also grows very robustly, and it has a good root system, and it is it will give you around 40 to 60 kg dry matter per hectare per day, and it is propagated. All these crops mostly they are propagated by seeds as well as rooted slips, except phalaris I will be talking about, that is grown by rooted slips become being triplied, and no viable seed is there. So it is also having CP content of around 15%. Then we have orchard grass. This is a wonderful grass for temperate and subtemperate area. This also performs very well in our Ladakh conditions, alpine cold desert conditions. And it is see, if you see, look at the sideways small table is there. Stage, crude protein content, how much it varies at with the stage. So at early bloom stage, this is the best stage. 50% flower bloom, 14.7% is the CP content at that stage. Earlier, it is 28.2, it is almost double, but the biomass productivity at pre-joint stage is very less. So we have to optimize both the conditions, and we recommend 50% flowering stage as the best stage for this crude protein content per hectare, if we talk of. So these tall fescue, dactylis, ryegrass, almost they will provide you 350 to 500, even 500 quintals per hectare per year, green fodder, depending on the soil conditions, fertilization management, and this availability of water or this precipitation. This harding grass, this is phalaris. So we have phalaris. There are different species of phalaris, but we have this. There is also one other species. This phalaris minor found as weed. It is not that one. It is phalaris hybrid. It is phalaris aquatica. It is a cross between phalaris arundinacea and tuberosa. That is, it is palatable, and its productivity will go up to 700 quintals per hectare per year. And it is cultivated through rooted slips only. Now if we talk of how much rooted slips are required, it is we plant these grasses, tall fescue, dactylis, phalaris at 1 feet spacing. That is 30 meters spacing between the rows, and between two plants in this line. But if you go for seed production, the space has to be increased so that we can have row weeders and other things, so that we can manage the seed production easily. And these are perennial ones. Once you sow them, once you plant them or sow them, they will during the first year of establishment, the productivity will be less. But after the second year and onwards, it will establish itself in the farm, and the productivity will increase yearly. So this is a photograph showing seeds of different grasses. What I have observed, if I those who are not aware of this grass seed, they get confused with lolium, tall fescue, this dactylis seed, feeling it the same. But experts are easily able to differentiate. So this is a evaluation of different forage crops what we have done at our Srinagar station, and about their fodder quality, quantity, productivity. Almost I have discussed all these during my lecture. And this is the nutritional value of major forage crop genetic resources, like maize. You can see I was talking about crude protein. For most of the crops, it was 15% above. But here, if you see, only two or three legumes, two legumes, except this Balsima alfalfa, leaving them, they are having less than 15% of the CP content, which is 15% of crude protein content is available in our these grasses what we discussed. So, and here if you talk of oat, one of the major forage crop, it is 9.5% only, and maize 6.75% only. So how we can go for production of these grasses and legumes? One option is intensive irrigating system. Second option is multiple cropping, and third option is year-round production through perennial and annual forages, association of perennial grass and legume components, and fifth one is the integrated farming system, agroforestry system. So that we can have different horticulture system, agri-silvipasture system, silvipasture system, and like that. So in this way, we can have we can cultivate all these forage crops. And in this regard, the station has developed different models for horticulture, silvipasture, uh, 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 for the production of these grasses and legumes for feeding our livestock. Excellent. So besides that, we have tree species like willow, poplar, Rubinia, Sidoacacia. Then we have Ulmus maliciana, and we have Elenthus excelsa. We have many other border tree species that are available for livestock in the Himalayan region. In this, in this subtropical, we have Grevia optiva, we have Kachnar, that is Bohonia variegata, we have mulberry also here. And these forest trees, these forest trees, they provide, they support our livestock, especially during the lean period, winter or dry summer. So during the when they are before the leaf fall, we pollard these trees, we prune these trees, and we get we store those branches in bundles and provide our livestock during the lean period, especially the winter in Kashmir Valley. This fodder trees, most of the fodder trees, the CP content, I'm talking about CP content majorly because CP content is one important component that represents the quality of the fodder. So in these tree species, especially the Grevia optiva, that's called Buell, Kashnar, this Rubinia, Sidoacacia, they have good around 17 to 22% of this crude protein content at the time when we harvested the leaves for storing our for our livestock unit for feeding them in during the winter period. So this till now we have covered different forage crops. How now I just want to discuss with you about the benefits of these forage crop genetic resources. First is the productive benefit. That is, they provide fodder. Some of them they fix nitrogen. Some have medicinal aromatic properties, and many more. Some provide fiber like grevia, and some provide fuel wood, and like that. So this is one benefit, that is the productive service. Second is environmental benefit is there: soil and water conservation, carbon sequestration, mitigation of climate change, and this third benefit is tourism, ecotourism. And if you see these porter trees, they have well established root system. They don't allow this land to get eroded, and lack of vegetation is one of the responsible factor for nowadays, which we have a communities like flash floods and erosion. And I agree that in the lower areas, they cannot control that such natural communities, but in higher reaches, when the water flow is when the water runoff is very less, such trees they can control, and obviously that will be the offsite control of these communities, that at least they will decrease the intensity of such communities. Then we have socioeconomic benefits, support livelihood, and we have biodiversity and wildlife. These forest crops, whether trees, whether grasses, whether legumes, they provide good habitat for different animals, birds, bees, and insects, and these are above ground, and so much microbiome is there underground, and different bacteria, they have different potential in solubilizing the soil nutrients. And so these are the biodiversity and benefits of these forage crops. And I told you that some of them, they have very good value in breeding up in improving our major crops like cereals, and because they provide important source of different genes, whether it is of hardiness, whether disease or some other genes there in these forage crops in the wild, and they are good source for those such genes, and as, of our major crops. So what are the issues with this? First issue what we have is conservation and management regarding. We lack definite conservation measure, and how we are managing these forage crops, that is lacking. Germplasm in this exchange and improvement is the need of the hour, because the crops I told you, these crops are very of we have different improved varieties of these crops in European countries, USA, New Zealand, Australia, in some part, especially if we talk of sandfine, it is in South America, and in some European countries, they have around 19 varieties of the sandfine crop. It is called holy hay deer, and it's because of it is this productivity potential, it is fodder quality. But there is a need for this germplasm exchange. In this regard, we are working. And quality seed production and availability. This is the major factor which is responsible for being these crops underutilized, because we don't have enough seed quantity available for such crops to be so that it reaches to the farmers. So we in this, because the reason behind this is very less institutions are working on it, because our IGFRI has a small station seed production farm at Srinagar, but we cannot provide seeds of this much quantity of such a number of crops to everyone where it is intended. And in grassland management, we have to involve the locals and users through participatory management, develop grasslands through introduce such crops there besides the local ones. And grazing management, fodder collection must be regulated. We have to improve the rangeland and grassland condition. And there are different threats, as I already told you: conversions, mismanagement, degradation, and their consideration, neglected crops, and smaller number of species and cultivars under selection, use, maintenance. These are different issues. Research and education is another issue. Extension programs, inter-institutional collaborations, and we must encourage the mixed cropping for so that we increase the area under such crops. And local guardians, these are those traditional pastoralists, they are the local guardians of these forage crops, and they have very good knowledge about these crops, because they see them in the pasture lands. They know what crop is which one, what are the benefits for their livestock, how much, if a animal eats one specific crop, how it will affect its health. So that is a traditional knowledge that we must make use of. We must learn from such things, and we have to plan in situ and ex situ conservation measures for these crops, and they conserve the wild relatives. We have to conserve them. Grazing management and regeneration needs to be regulated, and conducting explorations in explored unexplored areas. Evaluate the germplasm collected from their multiple, compare it with what we have, and see whether it is performing better. Put that germplasm in different trials and see whether that if it beats some other germplasm, we can evaluate. It can evaluate the variety in one aspect or the other aspect. We have to evaluate that carefully, and you can use that in breeding programs also, in breeding that for a specific trait with the germplasm what we have for that crop. If the collected one is of less productive nature, and but it has disease resistance or like that, so we can have a very good use of such a germplasm collection material collected through explorations. And in this regard, local guardians are very much helpful. They can be very much helpful. We must never ignore them. Pasture land and grassland improvement cannot be achieved without their role. And whatever the plans, programs, line department, forest department also is having for such areas, especially the fringe areas, it cannot succeed if we don't involve the locals. So to conclude, I would like to say that forage crop genetic resources, they are very much important for livestock farming system, and they have very much role in productive, protective, recreational, and biodiversity, and providing different services. And we have to increase the productivity of this from sustainable to progressive sustainable for the production system through both horizontal and vertical improvement interventions. We have to increase the area, we have to improve the genotypes, and that is horizontal and vertical respectively, and we have to enhance the production. We have to have scientific grassland regulation management, whether it is we have to have there are different grazing management systems I already discussed, but we have to manage that, whether we have to go for continuous grazing, deferred grazing, rotational grazing, or like that, zero grazing. And they are facing threat to genetic erosion, these crops, because we have ignored them. We are not, so explorations are required, and we have to improve their, we have to use that germplasm as I discussed, and local guardians, pastoralists, we should not ignore, because the germplasm, these forage crop genetic sources from the wild, they are very much important in broadening the genetic base of our forage crops, other major crops, and there is a collaboration here regarding these crops. Thank you. This was about this lecture. Now we can have discussion about these forage crops. If you,
Thank you, Dr. Saab. Dr. Shira Saab, I have a small query about seed production. It is, you said it's a basic problem, but it really is. So how can we overcome this problem of seed production and availability among the farmers? Other thing is that as an extension worker, I found that there's a little knowledge about its package of practices, when to grow, where to grow, and how to manage these crops. So how can we overcome these things?
see, number one is seed production. There are, as I told, seed production can be increased if different institutions they come together. They also take these crops as mandate crops, and like university. In university, people are working on fodder crops, but how many people among them are working on such crops? That is one thing. If they take these crops for research purpose, obviously then the seed production and develop a variety that will be accepted by the farmers. Seed production, farmers will also develop. Second option is participatory seed production. Participatory seed production, if we must encourage, policies should be there. We must encourage the farmers to grow these crops and produce seed, and the line department, the agriculture department, they must procure seed from the farmers at some specific rates, MSP, like that, and that will encourage the seed production of these forage crops and legumes. And third option is farmer, when we have to lay demonstration in different villages across the area of their suitability. And when one, it is obviously, as an extension worker, I have observed one thing, that if one farmer sees there's the crop which Mr. A has adopted is having good quality fodder, it's having good productivity, obviously he will ask that fellow from what is the source. If he will not come across that source, and he will obviously ask him, can you give me some seed of this crop? And in this way also we can extend our forage crops. And best thing is that if the farmer does not go for seed production, he can, these crops can be just multiplied through rooted syllabus.
Okay.
Second question yours was that package of practices. In brief, these are we have in this documented the packaging practices we have standardized at our station. In brief, if I would like to tell here that the sowing period of these forage crops is October, November. These are rabi crops. These are perennial.